affected marketing. The first thing we have already discussed is that marketing is mostly about communication, and communication with the help of internet has become very effective and very efficient, right? You can touch an immense audience at a very low cost. To mention a few other things, internet or electronic commerce, it gives us new ways to gather information from customer. As I have already said that while having marketing research, what is marketing research? It is mostly about gathering information from customers about their needs and wants and preferences and their purchase patterns, etc., right? So electronic commerce or internet, it enables us to gather information and customers in new and efficient ways, right? And mostly these are instant and spontaneous. Instant, they can happen at once, and spontaneous means that they might be unplanned, but you can still execute it efficiently. New ways to adjust product offerings. Now, adjusting product offering is nowadays very important, right? Being customized and being personalized is one of the most prominent competitive advantages that a company must have in these days. So adjusting the product offering according to the customer is very important nowadays, and electronic commerce does that very well as compared to the traditional businesses, and we already know that. There are many examples. For example, Dell computers, you just go to their website, you select parts of your own choosing, and what Dell would do, they would assemble those parts for you and send the PC to your home, right? Adjustable product and also adjustable messages, adjustable promotions, right? Electronic commerce gives us that control to be more customizable and to be more personalizable. Now, this is something which is a bit difficult to do in traditional businesses, right? So, electronic commerce, first of all, it gives us a great way of communication. It enables us to gather information from customers very efficiently. It enables us to adjust the product offerings according to each customer individually. And how it is possible? Mostly it is possible because all the online consumers that we have, whatever they do, the online potential customers, whenever they are using on the internet, they are leaving a footprint behind, right? What sort of pages are they using, what sort of websites they are visiting, whatever they are doing, all this information is gathered somewhere, and that information is then being used by marketers to target customers in the way they want, right? Just do an experiment. Search in your Google, visit to google.com and search about anything. For example, search about fountain pen, right? Or maybe search about another gadget. Search about anything. You can search about maybe some earphones that you want, or maybe you want to search about the oxypulse meter, a meter which actually checks the oxygen saturation of your blood and your pulse rate. Just search it in Google and then close the web page. After that, you will start noticing that all your pages, if you're logged in on Facebook or Instagram or anything, or even YouTube, ads related to that oximeter that you searched, or that earphone that you searched, would start appearing on your pages. Now, the search engine Google and your Facebook page, they are not related. They are two different things. But that footprint that you already left was actually recorded by some marketers, and that was accessed by marketers, and they got the information that you are in need of an oximeter or an earphone or anything like that, and then these type of ads start to appear on your pages, right? So this is how electronic commerce can make things easy for marketers. Another thing is increased customer value. Yes, e-commerce definitely enable us to do that. There are many ways to increase value. In fact, the above 3 or 4 things that we discussed, they itself are value addition to a product. Now, adjusting the product offering to the customer, it is a great value addition. Gathering information, proper communication, these are all value addition, right? Another value can possibly be that, as we have already discussed, that in e-commerce we are able to eliminate many intermediaries. So what can possibly happen here? The value being added here, number one, the cost of the product would be lower. That is a value for the customer. Another thing is that the product might reach to the customer in a more efficient and quicker way. Now that is also value addition, and there can be many other forms of value addition, as we know that a product traveling from the manufacturer to the customer, value is being added through each and every step, right? Key changes. What were the key changes? Social networks are a very big change, because nowadays social network, they act as proper platforms where people conduct businesses, where people do marketing, where there is a lot of audience available to you and you can access them on one single click. Now this is a very big facility electronic commerce is giving us, because such a huge chunk of audience, billions of users of Facebook, you can access them with a single click. Mobile marketing, again, it has revolutionized everything, because speaking of mobile technology, it gives us ubiquity in a true sense, right? Because we can access things anytime and anywhere, wherever we are. Maybe we are driving, maybe we are sitting in a park, or maybe we are taking a walk, or maybe we are just lying idle in our beds. We can use our mobile phones, and our mobile phones are nowadays capable of making bigger transactions online, right? Location based services, they are also a game changer nowadays. Location based marketing, right? Locality based marketing. What marketers do is that they target people based on their location, based on the relevant location, right? For example, if you give an ad on television, now maybe the product is only available in one city. Let's say it is available in Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan, but once that ad is out on the TV, now people from all over the Pakistan are actually they get exposed to that ad, and they get that information, but it may not be of use, because a person may not be traveling from Karachi to Islamabad to get a certain product. Now e-commerce gives us the ability to control this reach, right? It gives us the ability to target a specific area. Another thing that might have that happen nowadays is that, for example, as we are sitting in Abbottabad right now, there is a shopping center here, or a big plaza, a shopping plaza known as Jadoon Plaza. So for example, you are visiting Jadoon Plaza, you are walking in Jadoon Plaza, and suddenly you will get a text from a promotional text of a certain company, of a certain brand, which is available in that Jadoon Plaza where you are walking at that time, right? So what is happening? This is real life, real time, location based marketing. So these were the key changes, and this was a brief account of how e-commerce and marketing, they are engaged in an interplay. The next thing which is important to consider is the internet audience and their consumer behavior, right? Who are your internet audience, who you are actually targeting, and the other point is that how they actually behave. What kind of people there are? The first question, what are their characteristics, what are their demographics, and what are their other preferences, and how will they act? These people who are available, how do they act online? How do they purchase? How do they get convinced, or how do they refer products to their friends? How they actually operate online, right? So this is what consumer behavior will tell us. Starting with the first one, the online consumer profile. Who actually is your audience? Now this is very important to understand, right? Who your audience is, and not only in e-commerce, in every business it is very important to fully understand your audience, right? Before getting into the market, we should be very well aware of who our audience are. People we are actually trying to target. Who are those people? What are their characteristics, right? What are their demographics? How do they react in different situations, right? The first dimension through which we are going to explain the consumer profile is the intensity of scope and use, right? Intensity and scope of use, sorry. What is the intensity of their usage and what is the scope of their usage, right? Around 3 billion people are online globally nowadays. Now 3 billion is a big figure, right? And this is actually growing annually. It has a growth rate. Now the growth rate maybe in previous decade was very higher, but nowadays as more and more people are adopting to the internet, a larger percentage of population is now actually online, so naturally the growth rate would be decreasing a little bit, right? But still it is growing with a certain rate. Now that rate has been decreased no doubt, but it has been compensated by an increased intensity and scope of use. Yes, the growth rate is a bit slower nowadays, but the intensity and the scope of use of people is nowadays very much improved, right? It is very much greater. Maybe people in the previous 5 or 10 years, they used to use internet, yes, no doubt about that. They used to use it for many things, but nowadays the intensity and the scope of that internet use has been increased very much, right? Around 80% of adult users, they log in every day. For example, 100 adults are using internet, so 80 of them would log in to the internet every day and spend almost 2 hours a day, right? Now that is an average number. If we speak about our generation, if we speak about our age group, they use internet maybe at least 5 or 6 hours a day. Maybe not in a single go, but on and off they use 5 to 6 hours a day of internet, right? Mobile smartphones and tablets, these are major access points to the internet. Mobile phones and tablets, these are the major tools which are being used to access the internet. And as I mentioned again, that mobile phones, tablets, they are actually giving the true essence of ubiquity, which is one of the unique characteristics of e-commerce, which makes it special, right? The other thing, the other dimension of consumer profile are the demographics. Now we all know what demographics are. These are statistical parameters of human population, like gender, income, age, marital status, ethnicity, etc., etc. These things are important to consider, right? What sort of demography is actually available online, and whether we want to target them or whether we do not, that will be decided later. So related to demographic, there is a concept known as the digital divide, right? A digital divide was created maybe in the late 90s or early 2000s. The digital divide actually meant that there was a certain privileged class who could use the internet, who could avail the facilities that internet was offering, but the underprivileged class, the comparatively underprivileged class, was not having the facility, was not able to access the internet, right? Now this seemed to be a problem, a bigger problem initially, but later on the technology was so much generalized, everyone had access to internet, and these technologies became so cheap that everyone could access them. So that divide, that digital divide, it was moderated up to a very large extent, right? Nowadays, yes, it has been moderated, it has been reduced, the difference has been reduced, but still it exists along income levels. Different income levels, they have different usage, they have different access to these things. Education, ethnic dimensions, all these things, they do have a part. So people from different income level, their internet patterns, their access, it will be different, right? People from different education levels, their use of internet, it would be different from each other, different ethnic dimensions as well. Now gender, income, education, age and ethnicity, they do all have an impact on online purchase behavior. Different genders will act differently, different income levels will act differently, education level it would act differently. So whenever we are trying to target someone, when we are trying to offer a product on the internet, we should be well aware that what sorts of demographic we want to target, and how we should devise a strategy for it. Another important thing to be noted is that it is related to the digital divide, as we have said that the more privileged class had better access, and the less privileged class has comparatively a poor access. But nowadays, then as we know, that technology is now so much easily available everywhere. Everyone can access it. So yes, everyone is using internet, but the way they use it is different. The lower privileged class, they mostly use internet for entertainment purposes. They might be watching some videos on YouTube, they might be downloading some movies, they might be using Facebook and these type of stuff. But the privileged class, they are more inclined towards the internet purchases, right? They buy things on internet, they read stuff on internet. But yes, the element of entertainment is there, but they are not solely on the internet for entertainment purposes. But on the other hand, the lower privileged class, they use internet, yes, but mostly for entertainment purposes. Mobile and broadband impacts, yes. The kind of mobile technology you have, the kind of broadband you have, it has an impact over how we actually behave while we are online. I'll give you a personal example that probably around the year 2004 and 5, the broadband internet, around 2007 I guess, the broadband internet was not very much common in Pakistan. Only very selected few offices and organizations, they had broadband internet with them, but it was not very much commonly available for domestic uses. In 2008, the PTCL, Pakistan Telecommunications Limited, they introduced DSL for domestic uses, and then people started to have broadband internet. Before that, we used to rely on the dial-up connections. So there was no concept of watching movies online, downloading movies online. There was no concept of heavy social media like Facebook. Yes, there were social media like Orkut or Google Plus, things like that, but they were not that much loaded as Facebook, Instagram, and these things are, Snapchat, because they do have a higher data requirement, right? They do need higher bandwidth, so that could only be offered by the broadband internet. So yes, it has an impact. Social contagion in social networks. Now, social networks are, they're playing a very great role in marketing, right? And social contagion, it simply means that a certain piece of information, or a certain piece of experience, or a certain piece of promotion, it gets viral, right? It passes on from person to person, person to person, person to person, and ultimately what happens that whatever message there was, each and every person has access to it. Each and every person is actually aware of it. So whatever social network you want to target, whatever consumer you want to target, you should be well aware of what sorts of social networks is that person involved in, and how you are actually going to go about it. Consumer behavior model, how a consumer actually behaves in a certain buying situation. A very general model is in front of you right now. In the diagram you can see. Let's start with the dependent variable on our right side, the buyer decision, which is the ultimate purpose. It starts with independent variable on our left side, cultural aspects, cultural factors, social factors, and our psychological factors. Now, I hope we are all aware of these things, because we have studied all these things in different previous courses as well. So I'm not going to get into details of culture, social, and psychological factors. But we know that these three factors, what culture do you belong to, what type of society do you live in, and your own psychological characteristics, your own personality attributes, they all contribute to how you are actually going to take your buying decision, right? Now, this decision is mediated by different intervening variables which act in between these two extremes with these two ends, and they also play a role, and they somehow influence your decision, right? Brand name. Now, brand name is very important. Marketing communication stimuli, whatever promotional messages are getting to you, whatever marketing messages you are receiving, firm capabilities, and in-store behavior. These three things, they act as intervening, right? Cultural, social, and psychological, the independent variables, they actually end up into buyer decision, and this relationship is actually being affected by brand name, marketing endeavors, whatever they are doing, firm's capabilities, and in-store behavior. So this is a basic model of consumer behavior while we are operating online and offline as well. Profile of online consumers, if we want to see how our consumers are actually how they are acting online, what are the specific factors which they would prefer more, what are the factors which they may care less about, right? So reasons we have on the left side, percentage of respondents. Let's start with the first one, 24 hours shopping convenience. Now 35.1% of people would go for it, right? 35.1% people say that 24 hours shopping experience is very important for them, and they would prefer 24 hours shopping convenience, right? Easier to compare prices. 33.1% of people would prefer to have the ability to compare prices. 31.5% people would go for shipping offers. 30% people would prefer online experience because there are no crowds there like we have malls and traditional stores, right? 29.2% people they go online because it is more convenient to shop online, and the rest of these you can read them yourselves. So this was a brief profile of online consumers. Now another important thing, the online purchase decision process. Now the purchase decision process or the buying decision process, we have already studied it in our previous courses. As we can see, it starts with awareness or need recognition, then search, then evaluation of alternatives, then purchase, and then post-purchase behavior, right? These blue boxes in front of you, they actually tell us about a decision-making process, online purchase process. Now, the same process goes on for traditional businesses as well. But what is the difference between online? How actually things are different here? Now let's start with the first one, awareness. Now in an offline setup, the awareness may come from mass media or a TV or a radio ad or print media, right? Or maybe social networks. Social networks here actually mean the actual social, the real life social networks. When friends meet somewhere, or maybe some people meet in a party or somewhere, or maybe people in a mosque, they meet outside the mosque after the prayers are actually finished, right? But speaking about online communications, we may get aware from targeted banners or ad or some interstitials. Interstitials are basically different ads which come in between whenever you are switching web pages. So these type of ads come between those two web pages. Targeted event promotions and social networks, the online social networks, right? Now the second step, when we want to search for information, now in the traditional setup, we would get that information maybe from catalogs, print ads, mass media, salespeople, or maybe our friends, right? But in the online arena, we will use search engines, online catalogs, targeted emails, and online social networks, right? Then same goes for evaluation of alternatives. Maybe we have some reference groups, friends, opinion leaders. In an online era, we would be doing that on maybe some different specific groups related to that product, which are available online on Facebook or any other social network. Online catalog, search engines, right? Then same goes for purchase, then post-purchase behavior. You can look at the detail given in the diagram, right? So this was a brief overview of the online purchase process. The steps are the same, but the tools being used in each step are actually different, right? That was it for today. I hope to have a good question answer session. Quote of the day is in front of you. Read it, understand it, and implement it in your lives. Thank you so much. Have a good day.